I've been waiting for this one for a long time. Modding team Ship of Harkinian has recently dropped Zelda Ocarina of Time re-engineered port, a PC port that allows you to play Ocarina of Time, taking advantage of everything that your PC has to do, such as widescreen and maybe even future frame rates, but also similar to ports like Super Mario 64, with future updates hopefully using modding packs, ray tracing, and so much more to call for that I probably can't even fathom. Welcome to an ultimate modding guide series, a guide helping siphon through the best mods on the internet to give you an even better Zelda experience, and Ship of Harkinian has not disappointed when it comes to Ocarina of Time PC port. Before some of you white knights are going to be saying, well, that's piracy, it's bad. Not this re-engineered port. Ship of Harkinian has taken their time to make sure this is completely re-engineered, and as law states, as long as you're not using assets from the original release, they are not infringing on any copyrights at all. But to be fair, I'm not a copyright lawyer and I'm not someone to give legal advice, so take that with what you will. I'm going to be looking today at the original release that just came out in April, but I am not surprised if Ship of Harkinian is going to be adding updates to some of these features. Might completely outdate this video, but for the general synopsis of what this port is going to entail, this is the video that you need to see. Like in re-engineered fashion, this is going to be taking complete advantage of whatever monitor you're having. 1080p, 1440p, ultra wide like the monitors that I have here, as well as 4K, and taking a full advantage of that. My only gripe with this one, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be fixed, is that on the top, you're going to be seeing, Ship of Harkinian, as well as the window, so it's not completely encapsulating the entire screen like it would for Super Mario 64, but I know it's a little nitpicky, but I do like to see how that looks. This brand new resolution allows you to natively look at more than what the original scope of the 4x3 was supposed to look, and it allows you to look at more on screen. It does a great job on 2D textures like in the title screen, as well as when you're in certain houses. But of course, when you are traversing some of the houses, you're going to be seeing the 4x3 pre-rendered backgrounds not really scaling, and it makes sense. I wouldn't want it to be, scaled unnatively. So I'm very appreciative that they've taken the time to make sure whatever needs to be at its native resolution and native aspect ratio is kept there. Similar to the Nintendo service online, this one also uses a general smoothing filter that is applied to everything else, as well as 3D graphics and models. 2D textures, of course, are going to be suffering from this, but if anything, I think they did a really strong and nice implementation of the smoothing filter, and it just makes this look like a premium PC port. You could even see some of the 2D textures looking incredibly nice here as well. And for you original N64 purists, I got something for you. The game is running at 20 FPS, just like the original one, and there was talk of Ship of Harkinian bumping up the frame rate to 60, but since the frame rate of Ocarina is tied to the game's speed, by increasing the frame rate, you're going to be increasing the speed, you're going to be causing animation problems, you're going to be causing issues. So unfortunately, Ship of Harkinian has decided not to do the 60 FPS, and completely understandable considering there's so much to change, so much to animate from certain characters, so completely understandable. You guys, you know much better than us how to develop this. And if you like the way this hair flip looks, I've never really done this before, leave a like and a subscribe. Maybe it'll turn you over to the channel, but if not, we'll part ways. And I know some of you guys are going to be saying, how is it going to be rendering some of the lighting? And it looks fantastic. I'm going to be showing you the Queen Goma fight right here. When you're fighting her, you can see a side-by-side comparison of the Nintendo 64. It looks exactly how it's supposed to be rendered. The room is eerie and dark, and you look at Goma's eye, and she's staring right back at you. And you know that this is a pretty damn good PC port. Next thing I do want to talk about is the controller settings, and it's serviceable. I'll give you that. What's nice about this port, it uses whatever controller that you're using, whether wired, wireless, Bluetooth, whatever controller you have. I'm currently using an Xbox One S controller, but you can use an 8-bit DO, a Switch controller, and the PC port does a decent job at defaulting the controls. However, some of the buttons you can remap, but it's extremely tedious to do. What you have to do, you have to go into the INI folder. You have to change certain values to the exact button value. And obviously, I don't know what's what, but like I said, this is an infancy port, and this is one of the first versions, so I'm not surprised if Ship of Harkinian is gonna completely redo this and make it easily accessible for everyone to change. And might I add, whatever controller you're using, the analog stick is going to be absolutely superior than anything Nintendo 64 can do. As much as I love and am biased for the Nintendo 64, I will always know that the original analog stick is going to suffer from this, and you can really feel how great this game controls whatever you're going to be playing. And the nice thing is, if you want to play it with a GameCube controller, you absolutely can do so. I'm not finished, by the way. I was actually about to null and void this entire review and cut it off right here. While I was live streaming this, a viewer actually let me know that there's an F1 button that changes everything. Oh shit, are you kidding me? I did not know this, thank you. I really didn't know this at all. Oh, so there's a master's volume, gyro sensor, you could put the graphics on N64. I did not know this. I really didn't know this mod at all. The F1 button also gives you complete control of different options, audio, video, and everything, but I am gonna deep dive into this. Audio is incredible. You can change the master, the surrounding, the fanfare, and you can individually control each aspect of the audio in the game. That includes master, that includes the music, that includes the fanfare, sound effects. If there's some things that do bother you when it comes to sound effects, you completely turn them off if you so choose. Going into the controller settings, well, you can't really do any bindings here. There are two sliders that are pretty cool. The first one is gyro settings, and while my Xbox One controller S doesn't have gyro controls, I'm pretty sure you're able to do it fine with no problem. I wasn't able to test this out, but the rumble feature works great. You can control the sensitivity all the way to 100, which is how I prefer, or you can just turn the rumble off. But of course, the bindings are going to be recognizing the rumble control, so if you're using the Stone of Agony, which is used mostly in the game, you're not going to be feeling that, but something to worth note. A cool option for speedrunners is going to be the show inputs button, and it's exactly what it sounds. Whatever button you're pressing is going to show you the inputs, and I think this is a fantastic tool for speedrunners who just want to go through the game and try certain inputs and movements. Of course, I know I'm very limited on the knowledge of speedrunning, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people will find this extremely useful. Some enhancements they did add was a skip fast text, and it's exactly what it sounds. It allows you to skip any text that you see in game. So it's not just in the owl function where you see the owl and you can skip all of the text. It does it for every single scenario and every single character, aside from, you know, cutscenes and FMVs and stuff like that. But it looks amazing and it works so nicely. And I told you, you N64 guys, this is going to be what you're waiting for. They've implemented an N64 mode. Basically drops the resolution to 240p. It brings the aspect ratio to 4:3, and it looks almost exactly like the Nintendo 64. I kid you not. If you're really not going to believe me, let's check out a side-by-side here, and you can see there's almost no difference except maybe certain lighting or certain characters. In terms of their colors, that's about it. It's almost exactly like the original experience, and this is a fantastic way to play the original Nintendo 64 how it was supposed to be on your PC, with little to no limitations on how you're supposed to be playing. So you don't need to finding an N64 or an Ultra HDMI or any of those inputs to get pixel perfect nearest neighbor integer scaling. This is just fantastic. My only gripe with this, and like I said, I'm sure this is going to be fixed with an update. Would it be nice to see a scan line feature? That way you could control the scan lines, maybe the intensity as well. So maybe they're thinner or a little thicker, or maybe even different scan lines altogether. I think that would have really completed the Nintendo 64 look. Hopefully we'll see something like that in the future. I think a cute little feature that I do like is the animated Link in the title screen. When you go to change different shields as well as boots, you always know that Link has this, very static T-pose. But you just put the animated Link and he animates similar to how you would in the world screen. So it's really cool that they were actually add slight quality of life features that you would have never seen in the original release, but it's these little things for me that really add to the overall experience of this port. Since this original release is using a debug ROM, which is how you're supposed to compile this, and they just announced they're going to be using future ROM, so if you have a GameCube ROM, you can actually load that and put it into the Ship of Harkinian GUI, but you have a full debug mode, allowing you to go into every single nook and cranny of the game. So if you just want to see how the game looks and plays, you can warp into Ganon's castle, or you can go to Zoro Domain, which is always my favorite spot. And you can always see different parts of the game, whether you're playing as young Link or adult Link. And it's these little things that I really love that they've really taken their time with that you can do. For developers, you're gonna like these two aspects. You also have a stats menu, which also keeps track of the current frame rate of the game. But my favorite thing is gonna be the console. While I am not a developer by any means, it is kind of fun to be messing with some of the NPC spawns, and you can actually spawn items, characters, whatever you would like, even some bosses to a certain degree. I'll list an actor ID down below, and you can see and input some of these, and hopefully you'll be able to spawn whatever character and actor you want in whatever scene that you want to. It's kind of crazy to be playing the Temple of Time, then you're spawning Epona, and then Astolfos comes. It's weird, but it's really cool. And that's all I have to talk about this. This is a mind-blowing port for a first release too. This just came out, and there's a bundle of features that have already been implemented, and I know there are future ones that Ship of Harkinian is hard at work working on. I'm not surprised if we're going to be seeing model textures as well as ray tracing, similar to Super Mario 64, which also has a ray tracing feature, which is very cool, by the way. But I just want to give my sincerest love to Ship of Harkinian. They've worked so hard for doing this. I've been actively following them on their Discord, just checking things out, and I'm so glad that they've released this. And if there are any future updates that are really mind-blowing, click a link on the subscribe channel, and I'm pretty sure we'll get back to you. Thank you guys so much for watching the channel. If you're interested in seeing any other videos, I have them listed right here, but if you also want to support the channel, these guys right here have also done so, as well as Telsrob and PowerMat. You guys have really made everything awesome. Thank you so much for watching. I got more content for you. I'll see you very soon.